Welcome to Tenacity with Sonia C., the podcast where entrepreneurs, founders, and ambitious professionals come to learn from those who have walked the path, navigating challenges and achieving success. Whether it's thriving in business, pivoting, scaling for growth, fundraising, or finding work life balance, dealing with loneliness, adversity, or overcoming personal struggles. Our guests share the insights and strategies that have empowered them to level up. I'm your host, Sonia, and let's get started. My guest today is Brandon Neely. Brandon is not just a financial strategist, but a visionary who's transformed the way entrepreneurs approach their financial futures. With a passion that sparked in the bustling streets of Chicago, where he and his team not only brewed exceptional coffee, but also cooked up innovative financial solutions. Brandon has navigated through the highs and lows of business life. Today, he's here to share his insights from mastering the role of your own CFO to the transformative still method he's pioneered. Hi, Brandon. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I am good, Sonia. I'm excited to be here.
Nice, me too. So let's get right into it. Before we dive into the world of financial strategies and entrepreneurial insights, I'd love to get to know the person behind the expertise. Can you share with us a glimpse into your journey? What's the story behind your passion for helping others to take control of their financial futures? And what were some of the pivotal moments that led you to where you are today?
So that means we have to do a long podcast or a short. No. So I will tell you, my wife and I, we're in business together. We've run this business for 6 years in the financial services world of all things. But we've been married for I think 17 or 18 years. Don't tell her that I don't remember how many years it
I
is.
won't.
Um, but we started our first business venture in running a coffee shop because we wanted to make a difference in the world. We wanted to change the world one cup at a time. Literally, that was the slogan. And and it was overflow. And we wanted to, if you um, help some at the top, it'll flow down, right? That was the idea. But the reality is, I learned I can't overflow if I don't take care of myself. And in the business world, a lot of people are told, well, you just love it. That's why you do it.
Mm,
Just keep going. It's all right because you love it. It doesn't matter that you didn't pay yourself or give me a discount because, whatever. So we did that coffee shop, loved the experience that I'll never ever do again. Um, and we're expecting a baby, and that's why we transitioned out of that role into this, which was weird to be in moving from coffee to financial services, that's for sure.
mhm. Yeah. So, what led you to go from having a coffee shop to starting a financial services company?
Yeah, so a couple things. I had connected back when we had the shop. We had connected with the idea of profit first. Like I said, we thought we were doing everything right financially. We followed the baby steps. We did well, kind of. If you're a business owner, then you probably don't follow the Dave Ramsey baby steps all the way because you have to take a loan to start a business usually. So then you've already broken baby step number two or something. I don't know. So we started this business and learned about Profit First, which is one of my favorite cash flow management systems,
Mhm,
and also learned about this strategy called infinite banking. Here in the U.S., it's high cash value life insurance that you can access and use. Now, the reason I like this and why I moved into this industry is because my biggest risk was me and our business, and my biggest investment was me and my business.
mhm,
And I needed to build some foundational assets that I could use and leverage if I need to. And what actually happened is we came across this concept. We were saving into a life insurance policy, and then things happened. Not good things happened. that literally this is crazy. We had the roof off of our coffee shop, and because they were doing some work, and it rained, a freak storm. One of those like I don't know what they call them, but um, I feel like I'm in like California or something where it just comes out of nowhere.
Mm.
And it stormed, and then my staff calls me and says, "You need to come in because the store is falling apart." And that transitioned me saying, "Okay, we need to do something." Luckily, we had access to capital. It's within our policy to be able to overcome that flood and ultimately sell the business, not close the business. That's
Okay.
one of the reasons we got into this, was
Right.
just one of those things of this is amazing.
Okay, so let's talk about the innovation you're known for, the still method. What
Yeah.
is it? What is it? And could you share the story behind its creation and transformative moment or success story that highlights its impact?
Yeah, so here is the interesting thing. I've done a lot of financial analysis with people. People love, and this is that tenacity as you talk about, right? Um, they love having big things happen,
Hmm.
right? But what I've learned in a lot of this is a lot of times people haven't sat with themselves, right, and asked good questions of themselves of what they really, really want, right? It's kind of like that song. And the world and why we're in business is usually because we saw a problem and we want to solve that problem, right?
Hmm.
There's some sort of chaos out there, right? So our inverse of the still method is chaos. It's confusion, it's haphazard, it's anxious, it's overwhelming and stressful. I don't know if you've been around the past 3 years, but COVID kind of happened, and there's a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, taxes, right? Running a business is not easy. And so we were like, okay, well, there's all this chaos. What do we need to do? Well, I'm a person of faith. That's kind of where we kind of came from. And what I learned is we need to have a ask ourselves questions. So the still method is really us saying, "What do I want?" Set your sights. You have to know where you want to go. Most people, I would say, their goal is Disney World. No more than that, right? And I'm like, well, where do you want to be in 20 years? And a lot of people say, that's a great question. I'm like, that you should be asking yourself that regularly, right?
Hmm.
So the method is set your sights, track your in and out, inspect your progress, look for 1% adjustments, not win the lottery tomorrow, and live deliberately. And then you do it again. Right. And that's really the essence of the still. And it's going from chaos to still.
So it gives the person a bit more organization in their plan
Hmm.
going forward and their vision.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that the reality is somebody was like telling me, and we have this book called Five Smooth Stones. Actually, what's crazy about it is it's David and Goliath story. Five Smooth Stones is
Okay.
the rocks there, and
Mhm.
he took out his Goliath, right? Chaos is our Goliath. But the reality is most people want and this is our world of social media, 144 characters or less, solve the problem without me doing any work, right? How's that working out for most people,
Mhm.
right? Just put in your 401k, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. It'll go up and to the right, who knows? But having those questions, having that space that only you can answer. I can't answer what Sonia needs, right?
Mhm.
She has to. And some people are like, yeah, but I need an easy button. I'm like, there is no easy button. You
Yeah.
actually have to think. And that's the problem in our world is we don't want to think. We want to just zone out, right?
Yeah. So wearing the CFO hat is no small feat for entrepreneurs, and it's actually not the most fun part of running a business.
Yeah.
Uh, what's one of the biggest financial misconceptions you've encountered, and how can you share strategies to overcome such challenges?
Yeah. I think that a lot of times people think about making money. If I just make more money, it'll all be good.
Right.
If I just make more sales, it'll all be good. Now, there's two things. We need to know how to make money and keep money. This is one of the things that I learned in my coffee shop business is that I felt like there was some silent partners, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that were always in my business. It was this guy named Uncle Sam. Always I'd have to pay him, and he's never at work. Right? I'm like, what the heck? And then there's this thing called banks that were like, oh yeah, just by using a credit card, 3% fee goes to them on the top. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've learned is if you understand how money flows, now you don't have to be in the business of banking, but every one of us is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So understanding that and just simplify your finances, right? It's putting them in places, and that's why I love Profit First. It's because it simplifies, and then knowing that we don't know everything. Like just because Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman said it doesn't mean it's true,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so using the things and always be a learner. That's the thing I think about, and never just delegate that CFO role just to somebody and say, "Oh, they'll take care of it," because I don't like numbers. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you need to at least know how a P&L statement works.
Right, right. I mean, would you say that like financing and accounting is the one thing that gets overlooked most of the time by entrepreneurs?
I would say a lot because, again, going back to chaos, we thrive on chaos. We are told like, well, just keep making money, or even the tax code. The tax code is bigger than the Bible, right?
Right.
There's a reason for that. It's to keep us in confusion, right? And so as a business owner, I think understanding those pieces, because everyone, I don't care if you don't you have a small business or you don't have a business but you're married. There's a CFO role that needs to be played in your business of house, right? Uh-oh,
Yeah.
zoomed in. Um, right. So I think that we need to understand the problem is we're taught to be consumers and just spend and don't worry about it. Don't look at it. Just put your head in the sand and it'll be fine.
Do you think that like uh, the school system could be doing more with kids at a younger age to really teach them financial literacy so that when they get into the workforce or wanting to run their own businesses, they at least have a concept of it?
I think that would be amazing. However, this is I don't know, conspiracy theorist me or something like that. Is what incentive do they have to educate? Because where do the institutions make money?
Mm,
Right? Like the college funding and all of that. It's a big business to do financial aid and all of that stuff, right? There's a lot of money. Same with the taxes. I'm like, really? We have a whole system of people that get a job to figure out how to not pay the government, right? I mean, like by design, it's set that way, and that's unfortunate. And that's again, yes, it should be. However, me as a parent of a 5-year-old, it's my responsibility to teach my son how
yeah.
to understand. And if you say, well, I'm not good with numbers, I'm not this, well, better get good at it because it's only your future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember in school, I hated math, absolutely hated it. I always thought I'm never going to use this in my life. But somewhere in my 20s, I somehow started working at a startup and I got into accounting and
Yeah.
I became a bookkeeper and I started learning and learning and learning and many many years later I'm able to I pretty much do all the financing and accounting and I understand
Hmm.
and I can do general ledgers, profit and loss and really plan out how my business is spending and keep it lean and know what months are
Yep.
good and bad and look at trends and things like that. So I think it's a valuable skill for anyone to have, but especially if you're going to be running your own business. And it could be a side hustle, it could be a full-time thing, really understanding the basics of, a profit and loss, like you said,
Yep.
journal entries and general ledgers and things like that. I think like even just taking like an online bookkeeping course, I think would help anyone.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we created a community within our organization is I do a lot with life insurance and helping people set up properly designed policies. However, we looked and said, oh, well, people need to understand this.
Hmm.
Oh, wait, they don't even know how to budget. Now, budgeting is a bad word, right? But I'm like, it's managing cash flow,
I love
right?
budgeting.
Yeah, some people love it. Some people are like, "Ooh, let me get away from it. Let me just make all the money." And I'm like, "Well, that's why I love Profit First, is it's a cash flow management system, and you can really only do two things in business.
Hmm.
It's either make money or cut expenses, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and so what I love about the budgeting system, every year we do a what we call a expense challenge, and we'll cut things, right? I mean, I will tell you from a personal standpoint, like how many services do we have that we forgot we ordered that we don't use, right? And
yeah.
we're like, where's all my money going? I'm like, well, I could probably tell you in about 10 minutes if you actually have that in a one sheet or something.
Hmm.
But then we say, where's all my money going? And most people who are broke, they're spending it on credit cards and 25% interest. I tell business owners all the time, I'm like, you realize you're working for a bank for 25% of the time, and you
Yeah.
don't even know it, right? So understanding your numbers. Now, you do not have to be the whiz at it, but at least knowing how to. And that's again why we created our community, because we're always growing. I don't care if you have a degree in finance, yeah, you're always going to be growing because even if you went to college for business finance, it's probably big business, not a small business,
Hmm.
and things are always moving.
Got it. So pivots can make or break a business. And I personally love talking about pivoting and, failures that you learn from that eventually lead you to success. Can you
Mhm.
walk us through a time when a pivot was not just necessary, but pivotal for your growth or survival? What was the thought process and what lessons can our listeners take from it?
Yeah, I go back to our previous business within the coffee shop. So I was
Mhm.
also a caretaker of my mother-in-law. This flood happened, and we were 7 years in. Health wasn't there, and even the second year of the business, we had um, all these things happening around us, like in the second year, it was a miscarriage for my wife. I think my cat died. I had appendicitis,
Oh
different
no,
things, all in a matter of a year,
that's like a
right?
flood of things.
Oh, it was horrible. And then people would ask, "How's it going?" And you're like, "Well, pretty crappy, actually." But you can't say that because they're a
Yeah.
customer, right? And so at that point, and I'm going to go to two stories, but that first one, I learned um, three things that really helped me. And why I say this is important is know that you're called to it because things are going to happen. Know that you know that you know that you're called to it,
Hmm.
right? Have a team around you. So in that time, we had a team around us that cared about us, not for what we were producing, but our marriage, right? Um, and then know your numbers, right? From that experience and after that time, we also instituted date night for me and my wife because we are business partners that we do every Saturday regularly, and that helped us to overcome the next few years in the coffee shop. However, I learned in the seventh year of the business when the flood happened, saying, okay, things are shifting as we were having this flood. This was crazy. We did not know this when the flood happened. My wife's going through the water of this in Chicago, and we then were on a year-to-year lease for the coffee shop, which is not a good place to be in if you're gonna like build a business. Um, and then we found out that she's pregnant, and we're like, oh, she should not have been walking in that water. That we didn't know that until a month later. I think it's time to make a change. And so we sold that business, and then COVID happened, so we dodged that
Mhm.
little thing, um, and then moved into this. But being open to saying, okay, what is the thing here? What can I learn? I learned a lot in that business. I'll never do it again, at least not now. Um, and I can use that for this current one. But I am not my business, is what I learned. And there's more important things like a newborn who's now 5.
Right, right. Okay. The
Hmm.
bank on yourself concept is intriguing, yet might be new to some of our listeners. Can you break down the concept with a simple explanation or story that illustrates its benefits in a real world scenario?
Oh, absolutely. So I love it in that what it is it's life insurance, right? So I don't know if have you ever bought a house before,
Yep.
and have you ever used your line of credit
No.
equity in your house. So
No.
you have equity in a house, right? That you
Yeah.
could pull from if you have an emergency, right?
Hmm.
And the bank is going to say, hey, in order to get this, you just have to fill out these forms and make sure you have a job and all this, and you can pull out the equity in your house, right? So what I love about the bank and yourself concept, it's a properly designed whole life insurance policy, right? That is, as I put in, I can access as my line of credit cash that I can use, right? And be able to use that for various things, right? Whatever it is. So, so the way I think about it is it's kind of like a home equity line of credit, except I'm the house.
Okay.
And as I leverage the cash within the policy, I can, and it's the insurance company's loan money that they're allowing me to take a loan from it. But if something happens to me and I took $50,000 out, well, my wife still gets 1.2 million minus 50,000 tax free, right? That's pretty amazing. And one of the ways I've done it is I used it to buy my office condo, do 20% down on my house because it's all one wallet in my opinion. It's and understanding the banking function. So I was able to use that policy to control the cost of my mortgage, not have to pay PMI insurance on my house. And then I turned around and used that same money to, I own the policy, right? Life insurance policy. I bought a office condo, and then my business pays me rent. So then I was able to create two assets out of one,
Hmm.
right? Um,
Yeah. So just so I understand, because I think this is a bit of a new concept. So you have a life insurance policy and you basically are borrowing from that life insurance policy.
yeah, yeah,
So I have heard this concept on social media and I've always been curious about it. So most people think that life insurance policies is for when you die to
yep,
leave money to your loved ones.
yep.
What you're saying is that you can actually borrow against a life insurance policy. Can you walk us through, for those of us like me who don't really understand how to even go about doing that? Like how do you borrow from your life insurance policy?
Yeah. So first thing is it's again, it has been around for over 100 years. This is what the rich people do, right? They have been. They put policies on their kids right away. But the way I kind of think about it is, how Elon Musk, literally, I think he bought Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and he used money from the other company. He took a loan, right, to buy the other thing, and he never really paid. Probably didn't pay tax that much, right?
Mhm.
Because it was a loan from the other company to this. It's the same principle, is we're borrowing from ourselves or from the insurance company is really what it is. Technically, I'm borrowing from the insurance company. The insurance company is going to charge me 5% simple interest. And the way I think about it is I'm always going to be saving for future me, right? Always for the future. And I'm building this line of credit, access to capital that I can use, right? Every business owner needs access to capital. The
Mm-hmm.
banks will say, oh, you're not doing so well. Let me give you a loan at 20%, right? They'll charge you, who knows what the interest rate will be, right? So I'm always saving. And then I kind of, the way I think about it is old me, I'm saving for the future, is giving young me a loan, and young me then pays it back, right? So I'm playing two different parts of the um, puzzle here, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Um,
you're basically using your life insurance to live,
yeah,
which
yeah,
kind of goes with the name of it, life insurance policy. People just automatically think
yeah,
that it's just a death benefit, right?
yeah. And you finance everything you buy. This is Nelson Nash, the founder of the infinite banking concept, says it's not about the life insurance, it's about the financing, the banking function. And if we understand banks, that they literally what is it, fractional reserve banking, right? They'll
Hmm.
take your money and then charge somebody else money, right?
Yeah.
So this is something I'm doing, is I'm doing private money lending within my policy. I've saved that I have this. I'm going to loan it out to somebody else. They're going to pay me back interest. I'll put it back into the policy, right? And I've never broken compounding interest, right? Because the policy will grow up and to the right. There's nothing you can do about it. Even stocks, bonds, business is volatile. Doesn't matter. But the policies by contract cannot go down. It's
Hmm.
always up and to the right.
So is this benefit available to any life insurance policy, or is it restricted to different companies? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So you want to find the right advisor that understands this. You can't just use, and I don't do IULs. Uh, they are different people who are like, oh yeah, there's this, and I can kind of do this. So
Hmm.
you want to find, I'm banking yourself authorized, and I know how it works. And I'm really thinking again when I look at the still method, your goals. How does this fit in? And I have different policies for different ages or goals or real estate versus non. And so I'm thinking a lot about that. It's not just about commissions, right? I do want to make money, but it's not about that. I shrink the commissions in order to do what we need to do. And so you want to find people that understand it, kind of like a heart surgeon. You don't just go to your general practitioner and say, do a heart surgery for me. You find the right person that actually understands it. So that's that. And then you want a non-direct recognition company, mutually owned, and that has a proven track record. Now, I know you're in Canada.
Hmm.
There's um, agents. I'm here in the US, so it's by state law and all this other crazy stuff. So if you're US based, reach out to me. If you're in Canada, there's other um, advisors that I know that if you ever want to talk about that if you say, hey, I'm in Canada, I can point you in the right direction. Different companies probably because they're, I don't know, Canadian taxes versus, I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay,
You're
that
from
makes sense.
you're from Toronto, so I have no idea what happens in, probably better than here, but never
Yeah.
know.
I think like uh for a lot of people this concept of borrowing from your life insurance is very, very new, and not a lot of people
Hmm.
know about it. So the more information we can get, the better, because it could essentially be something that benefits, not just business owners, but anybody. If you have that policy there and you can utilize it while you're alive, why not, right?
Yeah. Well, and if you want, I can also give you the my contact for Canada. So if anybody reaches out and wants to talk to somebody specific to Canada, or if
Sure.
you want him on, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah, I'll get that from you, and then I'll post it with this episode, the link, and then people can reach out. That's actually really good information. I think it's going to be really valuable for our listeners. So we're coming into time and wrapping up. So I just want to sort of ask you one last thing. As we look to the future, what emerging trends or technologies do you believe will significantly impact financial strategies for entrepreneurs and business owners? And how can they prepare to adapt and strive in these changes?
Yeah, I think that you've probably heard this a bunch. AI will have a lot
Yeah.
of things that will say a lot. I think that there's a lot of really bad information out there, and people are just copying the Dave Ramsey's or saying stuff that isn't accurate.
Mm,
And AI might restate the same things that aren't accurate, right? So we want to kind of go upstream and ask the best technology, and I will probably die on this hill, is what's between your two ears, right? Actually learn to think and really understand what you want to do. No technology is going to do that for you. Or we might be shortcuts, right? But I feel like we're becoming, I don't know, lazier as
codependent.
we, or yeah, codependent or something, and we need to actually think through that and not just use the smartphone and say, I'm bored.
Mm,
But I think that that's great to have technologies to make our systems better. I love the EOS systems, right? However, be a thinker. Don't just delegate finance to somebody else and say they'll do it for me because it's just an easy Excel sheet. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Does that make sense? So
yeah, totally. Totally makes sense. I totally get it. So Brandon, thank you so much for coming on the episode and sharing all this knowledge with us. I feel like there's so much to unpack here. But thank you for sharing and being authentic with your story. I appreciate your time.
awesome. I'm excited, Sonia, and let me know any way I can serve you or audience any way I can help.
And that's a wrap. I want to extend a thank you to Brandon for joining us today and sharing such invaluable insights and personal stories that not only inspire but guide us towards better financial stewardship in our own entrepreneurial journeys. I hope you found today's episode as enlightening as I did, packed with actionable advice to help you take control of your financial future. And that's a wrap. To our listeners, thank you for joining me on this journey of learning, growth, and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and connect with our community on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback, so leave a review and let me know what topics you'd want to explore in future episodes. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace challenges, adapt with tenacity, and keep pushing forward. Keep growing, keep pivoting, and most importantly, stay tenacious in your pursuits. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to bringing you more insightful conversations in our upcoming episodes. This is Sonia signing off, but as always, keep chasing your dreams with tenacity.